That's a new system that you're using.
Yeah, and it's so clean.
No, it's
Even
very
the audio is nice. Okay, so what I did is I prepared like a small thing to just show you guys yeah, how we can use CSS and the simple grid to get like that similar layout that you guys see when you on your personal web page, right? So I'm just going to start this to show you. So I'm gonna run the flex box. Okay, so yeah. So what I did is I just prepared this, like one of my favorite animes. So yeah, so to get this layout, basically, it starts from your HTML. So once you structure like your HTML to like the way you see the layout or like how the layout is. So for example, or on this the display here, the first anime, so it's not there because maybe I did some CSS. So if I remove, like, let's say I remove the CSS here, so you see the order I put them in, right? So the first one, whenever I apply the CSS, it will change, but then the order is in the way that you define in your HTML, right? Cool. Yeah. So you guys, so whenever you start, let's say you start a project and you're gonna be using like your HTML for the front end. So if we look at my layout, right? So what we have is inside our body, right? Hopefully you guys can see. Let me just. Yeah, cool. So if you look at my layout, I have inside the body, so there's a div. So if we look at this div, right? So this is the div that's just wrapping all the content together. So whenever you are like working with layout, always think of like this thing of you have, let's say you have like this plane, right? So on this plane, you can like draw stuff, like you can have, like you can basically have a layout and say you're gonna have, let's say you have a sidebar on the left side of the screen, and then on the right side you have like, let's say, main content, right? Cool. So the way that I did it, so the first div is just wrapping everything together. So if we look here, you see our div, it closes there. And then the next step, so when we visualize like the layout, so the way I want to display my favorite anime is, so I want it on a bigger screen to be in line, basically. So so the way I approached is I created another div. So when you're working with layouts, divs are very like useful way to to separate stuff or like the content on your website. So in our main div, that's where I put all my favorite animes, right? So the first one is Jujutsu Kaisen, right? So the way, so inside now, we have another div. But then now, this div is containing the anime itself, like the name of the anime and the description of the anime and the image, right? And so the way I actually structured them here, so as you saw when it's in it's in like a grid or a block display at the moment. So we're not flexing anything. We haven't like floated anything else, right? Cool. So what you see inside this div, so this is basically now just saying I'm going to repeat this same the same div that I have here, but then it's going to have different content inside, right? Cool. So just open others. So you see there's other, the rest of the animes. So now since I've like structured, as I'm explaining, you kind of get like my approach of creating the layout is I have like, obviously I use containers to contain the information, and the containers are the divs. And then whenever I want to do something on maybe, let's say, a specific section of like the website, I can just then target the div itself. And then, cool. So I'm just going to uncomment the CSS, and then we'll go into our CSS. So I'm just going to comment out everything until here, I think, okay. So you see like the way, so this is the div. I can also give this div like a class name, and say maybe anime. I would say just card or container. Yeah. So now we can see that this is the anime container, and then inside the anime container we have another container, but now it's containing the two the P element and the image element. So now, because I want to have the P element and the picture side by side, ne? So what do we normally use to do that? To say, let's say you have content inside a div or inside a container, how would you make it move from this to this? Like which CSS property do you use? Oh yeah, yes, correct. So now if I go to my CSS, and then this column class that I created, so I can just say, let me comment other stuff so it doesn't like affect here. So let's see. Okay, we have like, I think we have to resize our images, right? So that's like straightforward. You know how to resize an image. You just, okay. Yeah, so you guys know how to like resize an image, right? Use the width. You can also use the height of the image. And so what I'm doing here is I'm setting, so I have a class called anime image. So that's gonna target the image specifically, yeah. So if I add this class name on any image, it's gonna give that image a width of 150 pixels. And so the margin part is just to give like some breathing space on the image borders. So when I say margin 10 pixels, it just basically means there's gonna be a space of 10 pixels on the image border, or the frame of like the image. So now, if you, for example, let's see, wait, it's still not flexing. Oh, okay, no. I'm actually okay, sorry about that, guys. So it's main actually, because main is the div that's containing the 3 animes, right? So we're not yet there on the column, so we have to, yeah. Cool, yeah. Yeah, so now, since I'm saying display flex on the container div, right? So now we're getting like this sort of like flakes, right? So now we managed to get our stuff to like display as how I want, but now it's still missing because if we look at the picture, it's in like a grid or block display, right? Why is that? That's because so by default everything is display block. So when you have like plain HTML, the default display is going to be block always. So then that's when you come in then and say, I don't want this to be a block, but I want it to flakes. So the thing is with like divs, so we have like a container main, and we have another one called column, right? Why am I putting the P element and the image inside this column div is because I want to do the similar thing I did on the main div, right? So I want to like display flakes now. So let me see if I can open div tools. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'm just going to highlight just to show you guys what's going on here. Okay, no. Yeah, this thing is a bit tricky, so I'm just trying to highlight. I'm trying to get the main div. Okay, it's not showing. Let me see. Elements. So main, yes, perfect. So now you see like the main div, right, that we created. So if you can, I don't know if, oh yeah, it's visible. So this is the div, the main div that's containing the 3 animes, right? And you said what? Display flex on that div. So you see like the spaces is divided evenly, so yeah, it takes up the whole screen. And yeah, so I want to do a similar thing here, but I want to do it inside, let's say, on the, not the anime, the column, yes. So if we look at the column div, we see that the text and the image is in that div, right? So like, it will be easier now to say, since I want it to be side by side, I can still also use display flex here. Are you guys still with me? Okay, cool. So now we are targeting what? We are targeting column, right? So the column class or div. So we're also gonna set the display to flex. Since we said to flex, to display things in line, we have to use the property display flex. So if we check now, you see, so it did the same effect that happened from the main. So the same thing we did in the main container, we're doing it in the column container. So we're getting the same result where it it flex the display. So you still clear with how like how to basically use flex and the basic, not, I wouldn't say the rules, but an approach to like have like a display like this, or an approach of using flex. Do you guys get it? Okay, cool. What's next now? So, okay, we need to now, so if we go to we toggle the devices, it doesn't look so nice. So we're gonna have to fix this. I don't know if I should ask you guys. So how do we like? Because I wanted to show. So on a smaller screen, I want to have it in like a list form or a block. Yeah, yeah. Minimum. Okay, wait. Let me rephrase the question. We want to accommodate for smaller devices. How do we target specific devices in CSS? Away media queries. So we're gonna need a media query to do what? Okay, and then set the display. So okay, let's say we use a media query, right? So what do we do in the media query now? Like, because we said, we want the display to be in like a list form now, not what we are seeing. So at the moment we are still seeing flags, right? So how would we get the display that I want using the media query? Which property which display? I would say we display value now, because we first use flags. So what will be like? Huh? No. Away, yes, correct. We can use block, and so now we're just gonna uncomment. Wait, I think I should leave this here. And put this here. Cool. So, wait, let me comment this out for now. So yeah, Kainsani said we can use block on the. So now, what's happening here is we have a media query, right? You guys are used to media queries, and we can target like specific widths of like a screen, right? So here we're using max width, meaning that like our maximum of like the maximum width of our screen should be 960. So once it goes above 960, then the display will be flags. So if it's like 960 and below, then our screen is going to display block. So does that make sense? Okay, cool. So let's check if that's the case. Cool. So we've taken it looked a bit weird at first, but now we have that display I was talking about, the list form right there. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, what's next now? So say now I want to like put some flavor, spices on my side, and maybe move like images around, right? So normally you guys are used to like float, right? You can float stuff to the left or right. Or you could hard code maybe and say on the container that's containing all the animes, you could target like maybe one anime there and say you want to float it right. But the problem like now is it will be like always per se like floating, even on a bigger screen. It will like we don't wanna like you wouldn't wanna maybe like float like hard code it in a way like that. So that's why you might use media queries to say when the display changes, then you wanna switch it up. Switch the pictures to the other side and the text to the other side. So so now the problem that I came across when I was doing this layout is that I couldn't use float because, so when I searched, they said the float display it won't work if the display is grid or block, right? So so that's like the way Flexbox works. So you have like I think there's the grid system and Flexbox system, which are like the latest new one, and you can use them both together. So now what's happening here is we first started with Flexbox, right? And then so Flexbox basically means when the display is flex. That's Flexbox. So now so now the display has changed. It's no longer flex, but it's grid now. So the display is grid. Let me see if I can show you guys the main. Oh wait. Okay, let me just select it from here and go to styles. Yeah, so let me just upsize this a bit. So do you guys see what's happening there? Like you see the code, right? So if we look at the code there, you see okay, on top there's the media, right? So the media is there because the screen now is below 960 pixels. And in the beginning, we said we want to flex the display. So now, if we look at the main class, the display flex is like cancelled out. So that line over display flex just means that style is not being applied to your website. So it's no longer using the flex display, but now it's using what? Block. So block and grid are like similar. Yeah. So now the display is block. So when the display is block, you can't use float. But there's this property on the grid system because we were using Flexbox from the big screen, but now it changed into a grid. So why I'm saying is like a grid is because we have like so this is basically a row, and like each anime is a row now. So now it's easier to actually like move stuff around since it's a block. So there's this property called order, right? So the order property can only, let me not say only because I'm not sure, but you can use it on a grid system and a block system. So we're just going to, so if we go to our HTML, so because I want to target like the middle, so I want the middle anime to do the switching. So the image has to go on the left side, and then the text has to go on the right? So I created this class called mid text, short for middle text. So I'm gonna now target middle text or mid text class and use the order property. So we give the order property 1. So I'll just give like an overview of like the order. So they say like the order property, basically once you have a grid, you can order how things are rendered on the screen. So you can say maybe, like let's say for example, we are targeting the middle text. So when I say order 1, what that means in CSS terms is that the mid text will be displayed after the image. So it comes like after. But then if we were to set the order to 0, that's like the default of the grid system. So the 0 just, so if we comment back this, so at the moment, the order is 0 because we didn't specify which element should come first, which one should come last. So this is just 0 by default. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm changing the order now and saying I want the text now to come second. I don't want it to come first, which is why I add 0. So if like you add a number from 1 upwards, that basically means, let's say if maybe you had 3 elements, let's say we had 3 elements in the, let's say, okay, for this, the mid text, right? So you can see it's doing the thing. So because at first, on default, it was 0, right? So the 0, just like you see, it means we're going to start with the text and then the image. But then when we change and say 1, we're saying we want to start with the image and end with the text. So if we had 3 elements there, and I said order, let's say order 2, then that means like there will be the first element, and then so the text now will only change on the second. So it basically, if the image, like if the, let's say the text was the first element in our layout, so, sorry. I saw the thing, the register. Okay, so, I know. So, wait, where was I? Okay, I was going to show you guys the layout. So you see the way like our layout or my layout is I'm starting with text. So by default, like, it's always going to start with text. Unless I change that order and say, I want the text to come after. So if like we had 3 elements in this div, then like if we add order 2, then that means probably that the first element will be rendered and then the text will be somewhere in the middle. So, okay, yeah? Okay. Okay, cool. Let me just do this. Yeah. So we have, 3 images. Let's see. So we're getting, because of the space now. But then, let's say we change the order here to 2. Okay, so it goes to the last one. Let me see if, okay. Wait. View. Okay, so yeah, it's not working as I expected. I don't know why, or is it maybe because of the display, but what it's doing is just, just taking the text to the end. So, I don't know, maybe that's because of the layout, the picture. Or change the picture and put something else. Let's do this. Okay, I think. Yeah, so we started with. Okay, no, so I think maybe, it doesn't work like that. So the order, it just takes the text to the end, and then the rest of the content, depending on the order, so we use the different image on top. Yeah, so yeah, so it just always takes the text to the end of like the in the like the elements inside our div. So yeah, okay, no. Let me just change. Column CSS. This one. Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like we can't fit 3 elements in this screen because the order, yeah, it still just puts the text at the end, right? Yeah, so I don't know. Any questions so far? Any questions? Huh?
So you say when it's at zero, right?
Yeah.
It means that it's standard form. But
Yes.
when we add one, it changes the position.
Yeah, so
Which thing are we speaking to? Are we speaking to the paragraph or
the paragraph.
the paragraph?
Yeah. So, oh, yeah, it's the paragraph. Yeah, we're targeting the paragraph to say it, it comes after the picture has been rendered. But by default, it just, because in our layout we started with the P element. So this is like the default when it's 0. It just, yeah. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but then when
Mm.
you add two now,
When you?
that's when you lose me the order. So remember we tried to add two with the other image.
Yeah, so okay, that part doesn't work. I might have to do some research why. But so what I got was that the order is that if the value is above 0, then it will, something will happen. So it will render that element after all the elements. Like let's say in this case we have an image, so now it will render the image first and render the text. So that's how it works. So if the value is above 0, then that's when the display changes. So I think to just maybe make it more complex, it might have to do with like the content or maybe the size of the screen. Maybe we might have to like squeeze everything in, I'm just like guessing now, yeah. But like that then makes sense, like how.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Or like nest. Uh-huh. So normally divs, they create that weird shifting thing. But let's see. Huh? Yeah. Then we'll just have to say 0. So then it will start with it. The order. Yeah. Image. So the problem with that is you are hard coding like where it should be. Let me just do this. Wait, first we wanna see Kanisani's yeah. So you mean the mid text? You mean like this, right? Okay. So it's starting with the image. It's still applying the same style even though we add divs. Let's see if we. Yeah, Kaisan, I don't know. Are you getting what you want to see or what? Uh-huh.
Can you just go back to the style CSS?
Uh-huh. Okay, cool. So, Basil, what was your question again?
I mean, by telling me that you need SRC, and then you put the P at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes.
then yeah, we do that. We do,
Like so.
then, which I don't know, you highlight those column, those column fields.
You mean on the page?
No, on your CSS, just comment out those orders.
Oh, you mean here?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this works, but then the image will always be on the on the left side. Um,
With the same approach, I did use the display, but on the small screen, the smaller of the switch.
huh?
I used an approach of the switch.
Uh-huh.
When you are on a small screen,
Mm.
display for
Yeah.
so I was thinking like it's like that.
Oh, you then use the odd. Okay, I think I get what you mean. So you're saying that we can now. So okay, so we'll have to have another media query. Ah. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Okay, I'm like, okay, I'm failing to. So you want us to give a class to the div that's containing the image. We'll just call this mid image like this, and huh? Uh-huh. So I take this, like, and put it here.
Yeah, it's like you make a total image of two pictures.
Oh,
And I drop it at the bottom. Based on the class names.
and then we'll say,
Above the
or put the other one above the paragraph. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So in your CSS,
Yeah.
you go into like for
The what?
the first one, this picture, the name
Is mid yeah.
yeah, I take that name,
Uh-huh. And come here.
become this section.
Uh-huh.
So basically for the small screen, you want this picture to be under small screen. So in here in the display, you're gonna set the display which is
Wait, so we set the first, okay. So you want the first image to render on this side. And then you have like the text in the middle. And then, oh, okay, I think I get what you mean. So, okay, so for the mid text, I think we don't have to style it, and then we say order.
I didn't use the order.
Wait, oh
Yeah,
here.
it's a different approach.
Uh-huh.
Say display, say it's none, it's what?
Null.
None.
Oh, none. Uh-huh.
You can just copy that and change the new, you take that block. The whole thing that you just wrote.
Wait, what? I can't hear you.
That image,
Uh-huh.
block. You
Yeah.
just copy it and paste it.
Or duplicate.
And then just change that image and
Or to like, last, okay.
so the display of this one, you change it to inline block.
Uh-huh.
Can you just copy those two blocks of the that you just copy?
These two.
Yes, copy, and then please project that. And then just switch the display for the other one to be
To be in line.
yeah, just switch. Yes.
Oh, okay. So the mid image should be inline. Wait, is it inline block or?
Inline block, yeah.
Okay, and then this one to none. So inline block. Okay, cool. Okay, let's change it this way. Okay, so you hiding the other image and switch. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's okay. That's cool. Thank you for. What's your name? Jeremiah. Sorry, bro. I cannot forget Jeremiah. Okay, so I see what you're doing is you showing the in a small device, you hide the medium image and then you show the last image, and then on a bigger screen, you are showing the mid image and hiding the last image. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's cool. Do you guys like get what just happened? Cool. So yeah, any questions so far? Okay, so you guys understand like how we use the order and how we just use like the grid system to change the order of the images and the text. Does that make sense? Okay, the heading, okay, we can. So the heading, it's just centering the heading, yeah. Yeah, and also, okay, sorry. And also like decreasing the size of the font for all paragraphs, yeah. So, yeah, so just to, I don't know, do you guys want me to explain how we centered the H1, the H1? You know? Okay. Yeah. Oh, the title. So, okay, so if, okay, we could make it follow the text, but then, yeah, so I did this based from the personal web page. So if you check the personal web page, like the title is like on the left side, so it doesn't follow the. I didn't give any content. So I just I put it on top of the text, like here. So this is the div that's containing the whole anime card, and then the H5 is just sitting inside. So it's the first thing inside the anime container, and then so basically we have. Let me see if So we have a container which is column. You see, it's not including the title because the title is sitting like outside of the column div. Because we didn't want to flag, because if we put the H1, it was just like, I think it will also flex the H1 too, and gonna have.
To the CSS, there by HTML,
Yeah.
you split the H1 by the heading.
I do what?
Take it away.
Oh, I take it out.
You want to copy it, and then you're gonna put it at the top of inside the menu.
Inside the. Oh, inside.
Yeah, put it inside.
Yeah. So now, yeah, it's like still doing the same thing. Yeah, you see now it's showing like there's 3 elements in the column div. Does that make sense? Huh? Do you? It's like refresh. It refreshes on its own now. Yeah. So the structure of your HTML is important because it will make your life easier. Yeah, because now if we added the H1 inside column, we'd have to like add some style to manually move the H5 on top, which is a lot of work. But this approach is easier because you don't have to add extra. Yeah. Yes, the subject. So in your historical places, you might target the middle place and then just change that order of how it renders the picture and the P element. Should we move on to simple create? You guys are sorted. Okay. Still, it don't make sense. No, you don't have to. So as you Kainsani, yes, you have to. And this approach will help you to like do that. So you guys, no questions? We can move to simple create. No questions? Yeah. No, don't worry, it's going to kick in. So, okay, the simple create is straightforward. You don't write a lot of CSS. It's just, you can maybe target your text and change like a few things, but you can achieve the same display using simple create. Yeah, so I'll just run this. Yeah, so okay, so you guys have like looked at simple create, and you know it uses like the grid system where you have rows and columns. Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
Can I add something?
Mm.
If I remember like FCC, you guys teach about section 29, I don't see the way you
It's wait, can I answer you? So in coding, it depends. It's like it can be preference, it can also be requirements. So for me, I like to do things so I won't have to suffer. Because I really don't understand section, like all these other, but a div, it makes sense. Because like these other things, they have like their own way they work. So it just depends on you. As long as you're gonna get the same output using a different thing, then it's fine. And also you can contain your context in divs as much as you want. That's also good because then you the simple grid. Yeah. So so okay, so here if we look at my Flexbox version, I tried limiting the number of divs I use, So I didn't use a div to contain the H5. And I also didn't use the div for the H1, and I didn't use a div for the image. So what I'm doing here is I'm targeting elements directly. But that's like, it also has its issues because I'll show you guys with simple grid, but does it make sense? Okay. Okay, we'll go to simple grid. So yeah, simple grid, if you go to their website where you downloaded the CSS, you saw how they show you like you can use row and column. So yeah, like the way simple grid works is it's like it's a grid with that you can add like rows and columns. So now you can like move data anywhere in the grid basically. So yeah, it's like, so the amount of CSS I added was this, just to get the same layout. So the rest I just use simple grid classes. I was just styling the font because by default simple grid is like huge. So I wanted to make the font, tiny. And then I was just this is just for like smaller screens, But then I'll just go through the layout of how simple grid is. So you see here we have like an H1 on top, a div, which is a row. So you all know a row. So in a simple grid you can divide the row into 12 columns, right? So for example, in this case we have three elements or components that we want to display. So what happens is when I give the div containing the anime column 4, I'm basically dividing each anime card or the component to have a space of like 4 in the row. So then you're gonna end up with like even space. So the way that they wrote simple grid is that if, for example, let's say I use column 6. You see now there's no space for the other one, so it's just going to, by default, it's going to like do this. But then you see how you need to like basically calculate how much column space are you going to need, and it also depends on the data you have. So for example, the one you're seeing here is if we added another anime card, we're gonna have like 4, but let's just do a duplicate of 1. Okay. Yeah, you see, it's just keep on like putting them here until, but then if you have maybe more than 3 elements, they'll still show fine. You don't necessarily have to have 3 elements all the time. Or you can just decrease the size of each column to take maybe like, small space. Then you might be able to squeeze in like a lot of information in the inline display format. So you guys get the simple grid, how it works. Because even this approach, you can use it on your own CSS. When you are using the grid system, you have to always think about when let's say this. So by default, Simple Grid, they define for us the width of column 4. So you might also take the same approach and say each column, or like, yeah, you can define a column and say you want it to take a width of this much. And yeah, it's like simple, it's a grid system basically. Yeah. Just think about grids and rows, columns, yeah. And also, yeah, just note that you need to be careful of like the column numbers. So, so another thing now to check. So you see how in each component we have like the text and the image is aligned. So we can do that with Simple Grid. So they have that SM class. So if you combine a column with the SM class, it means that on a smaller screen, what I'm saying is that, so since we have a column for div here for each component, right? So now I'm saying I want the P element to take a space of like 6 in like the column, right? And I'm also giving the image a 6 because that's it. In total, that's 12, right? So, yeah. So the SM basically just means on a smaller screen, and then without the SM, that's just on a bigger screen. Does that make sense? Yeah, so you can chain them and have like something like this. Because if maybe, let's say I had 7 here, we're getting the same thing that happened on the outer, like, yeah, div. Does that make sense? So you guys understand columns and rows? Cool. Yeah, so they have like, okay, so for example, let's see if our thingy, okay. So by default, you wouldn't get this to float the image on like, yeah, the other side. So to achieve that, I had to do the same approach that I did with the mid text. So here, if we comment this out, let's see what happens. So we're getting like the normal, which is like the default because of the way we structured our HTML. So now if we enable the float, we get the image floated. So let me just remove the important. So the important keyword in CSS, it overrides the initial, like let's say they define that in a column, content should be displayed like this, like flakes, because we're using the SM. So now, yeah, the image and the text will always be side by side. So we use the important to specifically override what Simple Grid defined. So without the important keyword, it's just going to ignore it. So the important just says, ignore the initial one and use this one, no matter like where it's defined. Because the way CSS work is, it starts from top to bottom. So if you were to like, let's say, do mid text, maybe after you start, let's say we change, do this, and then we say float left, and we use the important. So you see what's happening is it ignored the first one, and then it took the second one. So, but then, yeah, if we, yeah, so that's why I'm saying like, when you use the important keyword, it will then like use the most like, okay, basically the last one in the list, yeah. Does that make sense? You guys understand why we use the important keyword? Yeah, you understand that. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna remove this. Yeah, I think that's all. And they also have like other classes like center. So for example, I centered the title using one of their predefined. So if I say like center, then you see the title changes. So you don't really have to like write a lot of HTML in the simple grid one. You just have to style. Maybe you can style the text, the images. Yeah, that's all. You don't need to like display flags on simple grid or all that other stuff. You can just do it using the class names they have for you there. Yeah. Oh, and another thing, simple grid is not a framework. So I think was it yesterday or the workshop we did with handlebars and Vite. So I mentioned that simple grid is a framework, but it's not. So it's a grid system. It's not really a framework. Yeah, a framework is like materialized Bootstrap, but not because they say it doesn't come with buttons and other stuff like or inputs. They just it's the grid. They just give you the grid to use it for your layout. So yeah, it's just a template to say I'm gonna use this. So for next time when you are building a website, you can actually use simple grid because the grid system is they say it's powerful. That's like how they create like complex websites. It's because so when they say it's like Flexbox is more one way, and then the grid is the grid. Like you just have like rows. You can move around the grid anyway. Yeah. So yeah, simple grid is not a framework. Yeah. Do you guys like? Does that make sense? Okay. The what? The iPad. I want to break the thing now. Why is the image still fixing on the other side? Wait, did we like touch the style here? Okay, it's still taking this as a small screen, so because our max is like too high. Maybe if we lowered it to let's make it no. Yeah, so so if we just lower the bar for how big the screen should be, or like when to start saying the screen is small. Yeah, so if we change that, then it just displays So you have to be careful of this when you set the maximum width. Yeah. Did that help?
Yeah.
You still have a problem? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, guys. If like no questions. Okay. Oh, before you go, so I just wanna, so you guys, do you use AI for work? Don't lie.
You said no.
Like, is it like helpful? Do you progress when you? It messes up the art. Because they give it their code. I'm like, then I can try. So yeah. yeah, using the AI thingy to assist you is a bit tricky. So you, and also like these AI are not the same. Some are better than the other, you know. So, but like when okay, I heard someone saying it messes up your code. So you don't give it what can I put? No, don't give it code. You don't need to give it code. But what you can do, so I always treat them as like search engines. They are like powerful search engines that can instantly like show you results. So for example, if I wanted to know, let's say I wanted to know about Flexbox. Let's say what is Flexbox? Yeah, something like this. Okay, you see that, okay, on top you are seeing the AI, right? Which is like normally you wouldn't see when you search on Google. So now to understand like Flexbox, you're gonna have to keep like opening like all these sites and everyone is explaining it differently. You just have to find the one that like works for you or that will make sense. But then now the thing with AI is it can help you like make this search easy, right? So it makes it easy because you can like even let's say you don't understand. Wait, let me just open. I like using Gemini. It's better than So. Huh? It's better than ChatGPT, guys. Yeah, like ChatGPT, you have to pay to get like the proper one. But Gemini is, Google likes, they are open source, so their stuff is always on point, especially like software. So, so I can just say now, what is Flexbox? Like to be specific in CSS. So I can actually use the bot to teach me how Flexbox works. You see, like it's giving you all. I'm not gonna read everything, but then you can say something like, I don't. Yeah, I'm basically saying you guys should use AI. It's okay. It's not the same as just taking the code and giving it the code. So that's going to obviously mess up. Yeah, it will even like make you change your code because it thinks like like there's a lot. So that's why you have to prompt the message. You don't have to copy like what you are working on. So you can like tell a story even. Like for example, now I can say like I don't, for example, understand. I think you can even say, please. Wait, what? You see, so you guys are not paying attention now. Like the AI is like a mentor, but is a mentor there 24/7. You can ask them anything. They don't get tired. They don't get angry or frustrated or hungry. Like it's always there. You just have to have internet and I also use it when I'm like building projects to, for example, if I'm using a software that I don't understand, I just go here and then I don't have to go and read the documentation, but I can ask the ChatGPT or whatever AI to say, how do I use this framework to do this? and then it can explain without you having to go and Google and read like all these media, yeah, even the books like Media, Free Code Camp, is in Medium, yeah. Yeah, I used to rely on Medium because like it's people that actually did like do the work and they show you how to start from zero and get like the output. So the AI now can do that fast for you. So you don't need someone to write an article about how to use a framework, but you can come to this thing and yeah. Yeah, and also like I learned not the simple grid, but like using Flexbox and the grid system. I don't like CSS. I don't like writing CSS that much because I rely on frameworks. Like frameworks are easier because they did the stuff for you. You just like copy and paste. That's what frameworks are for. They are for helping you to like make work easier. If you're someone who doesn't like writing CSS, so then you use a framework, because if you are using plain CSS, you'd have to style the color, everything, yeah? This is just to train it. Okay, you have to start from the bottom. Yeah. So like we have to, it's like when you learn programming, so they used to say like C, like if you understand the C language, you can understand all languages. Because all languages are created using C. And if you understand C, no other language can like confuse you. So it's the same thing here. Even the Flexbox is like is more of like not that new, but like recent, but they recommend using the grid system instead of Flexbox because Flexbox is one way, but the grid is like, you can do a lot compared to using. So that's why you get people combining Flexbox and the grid system together. Yeah, you guys like, I see you guys wanna go now. No, it's fine.